Welcome to the Empower Me Show with Pam Bright. This show is all about honoring you as a spiritual being having a human experience. You are here for a reason, and it's no mistake that you are here on Earth right now. Spirit has guided you to this very moment in time, so you could hear the messages Pam is about to share with you. She is a multidimensional healer, light language channel, transformation coach, wife, and mother, committed to helping you discover the tools and practices to empower you to live the best life you can. You get to choose the spirit path you take. You can connect to the spiritual guidance already all around you. Get ready to live a fully empowered life. This is the Empower Me Show.
Welcome back to the Empower Me Show with Pam Bright. I'm Pam Bright. I'm your hostess for today, and I am so glad that you're here. This is our light language show, or language of light. They're interchangeable. We do this every first Monday of the month, and today I am joined by my dear friend and associate, Lola Singer, who is also going to be sharing her experience of the language of light and what she does to inspire and transform the world with light language herself. So before we get started, I would like to ask you, Lola, kind of what's your remembering of how you and I came together to work as a team with light language? Do you remember that?
Yes, we would do a fair in Edmonds. That's where I met you. And at that fair, we would set the intention for the day. Everybody would gather in a circle before people were coming through the doors. We would set an intention. I would sing a song in light language to match that intention. And usually it was something like if we felt like we needed grounding, because when you're with a bunch of people who are tapped into high vibe energy, we need grounding oftentimes. Or it could be bringing in the highest energy possible for the day, happiness, whatever it could be. We set an intention. I would sing a song to match that intention totally intuitively. And then Pam would do her light language afterwards.
Wonderful.
You would bring energy in with your hands as well as your voice.
Yes. So would you
we became kind of a team there.
would you be willing to do that for us today?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Do you want me to do it right now?
Absolutely. Please do.
Okay. So one thing that I found out when I was doing light language, it's very important to set an intention, because that focuses the energy rather than allowing it to scatter all over the place. So we're going to do a grounding song. It's totally channeled, totally intuitive. I never know how it's going to sound, but I'll set that intention to ground us and center us as a group. And here we go. Mola seyo no halana seyo no sero. Amalayo no salu. Iyo no mahaya nesera mayo. Himalama ke maleo no. Hiana sarana haneseyo. Iono maya amaleo no saramalo. Iaseya no hamaseya. Amalea no. Amalama seanaro. Amalea no.
Thank you, Lola. So the energies that I'm receiving as you're doing that is really pulling in the energy of the earth, allowing her, our Mother Earth, Gaia, to allow us to remember that we are spiritual beings having a human experience in a body. And it's really vital that we allow our physical bodies to be the tool with which we can affect the world in a positive way. We do this through our intention, through our speaking, through our emotional natures, and through our connection to source and our guidance teams. So as we are connecting to the earth, I'm then going to help us to bring the energies from source and our guidance from the cosmos in to match that. And then we will begin with our wonderful adventure with Lola Singer and her light language in the earth and on this planet. Hanana he warabe ya. Hanana he na he na he ya. Hanana he na he na. Hana hana ya ya. Mohena hena hena heya. Hey na 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 heya na na ye. Hi ya heya na ye ya. Ho ya ho ya ho ya. And just allow all of those energies to mix in together into your body system. And allow that to come right into the center of your spinal column, allowing the pillar of light, which illuminates from your core outward throughout your body system and out into the world, to fill you with light and love from the creator of all that is. And go ahead and take a few nice deep breaths and come back to center. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and be present with us now. Okay, so Lola, why don't you tell me what your experience of being a spiritual being having a human experience is like for you?
Well, I have to say it's wonderful to be elevated and tap into the high vibe energy, but sometimes I really, really need to ground and remember that the body is as important as the spirit. So I'm around a lot of intuitive people and psychics, and for years and years they've always like, Lola, ground now, because apparently I tend to slip off into the ethers. Multi-dimensional beings as we are, I guess there's certain places you like to hang out, right?
Yes.
Yes. So it's really been for me, maybe not for other people, but for me, it's been an epiphany the last couple of years to really start to understand how important this vessel is to the spirit. And I think that happens a lot in the metaphysical community. A lot of us tend to kind of forget how valuable the body is. And I've just really gotten to the point now where it's like, hey, this is how I channel the spirit. I channel it through here. I am basically, and you are too, we're radio towers. A radio tower is rooted to the ground, and it's you're broadcasting energy. It's encoding and decoding. Can you tell I have a communications degree? So it's transmitting and it's transceiving. So it's a constant give and take of energy through this radio tower, which is my body. And you can't have a decent radio station without the tower or something that transmits the signal. So we got to learn to value both. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. That's a beautiful description. Thank you very much. And I too have had a lot of challenges in my life with grounding. And, sometimes what I found, and maybe you have too, that when we're not listening to the messages that Gaia is giving us about grounding, she will just pull us down and say, okay, time to ground. So like I have a fall or I run into something and hurt myself. And that is like the signal, oh, I need to pay attention to this vessel. I need to pay attention to where I'm going. I need to slow down. I need to look around and see what is around me so that I can be present, right?
Yes.
That makes sense?
Yeah, I've had a few spills myself, so I totally relate to that.
Yes, yes. Yep. So we're about to take a break. And when we come back, I would like to hear from you really how you got into this thing that we call light language or language of light, or various other names of this transmitting that we do, and really share what you're up to these days with your business and with your website and with this beautiful display of your artwork that I see there, and really get us into your world of how you are encompassing and embracing this being that you are, that has such a wonderful way of sharing with the world what light language is. So we're going to be right back after these messages. Welcome back. You're listening to the Empower Me Show with Pam Bright, and we are joined today with the light language episode with Lola Singer, who is a light language channel as I am in the world, and she does amazing work with light language. And Lola, I would really love for the listeners to hear from you. How did you first get introduced to this way of transmitting this energy to the world? What was your first experience with that?
It was part of a Kundalini awakening. Have you guys talked about that on this program?
No, why don't you explain to the listeners what that is?
It's kind of complicated. Kundalini is a Sanskrit word, and the people of India are very familiar with this concept. Westerners not so much, but because there's been a big spiritual shift here, a lot of people are having this experience. So when you make a conscious choice to shift your energy by doing your shadow work, forgiving other people, raising your vibe, looking at things that happened, and moving forward from the things that you thought were really keeping you at a low vibration. Usually that involves forgiveness, gratitude, things like that. We make these mental shifts, we make emotional shifts, and we make spiritual shifts. And we just choose, hey, I'm not going to stay in that lower vibe anymore. I'm making a conscious choice to change. I want to move forward. When that happens, when people are on a spiritual journey, and that's why this is associated with the people of India, because they're very spiritual people, but this is a global phenomenon. There is actually a dormant energy at the base of the spine. You know how people have chickenpox down at the base of the spine? Well, this is not an illness at all, but it's the same idea. It's dormant. We raise our vibe to a point where we trigger Kundalini energy to be released. And it's a hot energy. Basically what it is, it's spiritual energy, the joy, the of creation. Suddenly you feel it in your body. And it usually feels hot, and it goes up the spine, and people have to learn to channel it. That's why you may have heard of Kundalini yoga. That's a practice people do to manage the Kundalini fire energy, the heat. So did Lola know anything about that when it happened? No, not one thing. Okay. But I did have a friend who had shown me that he was twitching, and that's one of the symptoms when Kundalini gets released. The body is trying to adjust to all that energy. So he twitched, And when my Kundalini got released, you feel this energy. To me, it's like being a pop can that's gotten shooken up. You just shook up a pop can and it's in your body, right? And that energy needs to be worked with to be manageable. So, like I said, some people do the Kundalini yoga. My friend twitched. I started moving my hands and my arms. That's something called mudras. And I could tell when I was doing this, it was shifting energy, and it was not only making it more manageable, but it was even raising my vibe higher, but in a really good way. You can feel it in your body. So it was like, okay, well, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I know this is part of the Kundalini experience. So I would just let it happen. And then one hand would do these orchestrated movements, and then the other one would do it the exact same thing again. And if you consciously tried to do that, you could never match what the first hand did. Trust me, it was like a little hand ballet. It's like, oh, that's fascinating. And then after a while, I started toning. And when we tone, we shift our body and we change the energy, right? And then I started humming. And then I started singing nonsense words. And the words were coming out of me, and I could tell they were raising my vibe. They were helping me with the Kundalini. It was like, this feels really good in the body, but I didn't know what it was. And so I actually tried to find out what it was, but I couldn't get any answers. I went to spiritual places. They didn't know what I was doing. I talked to a channeler. He didn't know what I was doing. I finally found someone who channels a galactic being. And the galactic being told me it was light language.
Nice.
Yes, I finally know what this is. It was so good to have an answer.
Mhm. Yeah.
So once I knew it was light language, now you can go down the rabbit trail and go online and find out more about it. And that's how I found out a lot of people speak sing light language. I found out more about the Kundalini. I found out more. I didn't even, I didn't know what it was called. I didn't know. The galactic being called it language of light activation. So I wasn't familiar with the term light language. And that's actually my name. I changed my name to Lola Light, which stands for Language of Light Activation Singer, because I sing in light language.
Nice. I
So
love that.
that was my title, and I actually changed it to my legal name 2 years ago.
Very nice.
So I got my answer, and then I started putting my stuff out on YouTube and Facebook, and a person from New Zealand contacted me, and we started doing a Google Hangout together about light language, and she drew in light language. And I didn't know people could draw symbols in light language. She's the first person I learned that from. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's amazing she can do that. And my little brain said, well, it's amazing she can, but I can't, and then it was like, maybe 2 years later, I was thinking, I'd seen other people do scripting in light language, and it's beautiful what they bring through the channeled energy. And then one day I said, well, what if I can do it? So I picked up a pen and I started letting it go. And for the first couple months, it was nothing but spirals. And eventually light language script came out. And I do light language art now with scripting, as well as singing and speaking in light language. And a lot of the art I do is totem animal art. I draw the animal and then I channel the codes. So I'll show you, I've got one nearby here. So you can see this is a cougar, and I tuned into her energy, and these are the light codes that go with the cougar. And she's got light codes in her body as well, and in this energy that's wrapped around her. You guys
Beautiful.
see that? And then it's interesting because I have a giraffe as well. And it's interesting because since the energy's channeled, the giraffe has, even if it was a male giraffe, the giraffe still has a lot of feminine qualities, because it's about kindness and gentleness and seeing things from a higher perspective. So you're going to notice the giraffe is almost all curved energy, which would be more feminine. There's a little bit of lightning bolt down at the bottom, if you guys can see that. And I love how the giraffe actually, it turns into light language here. Do you see that?
Yeah.
So I always thought that was interesting, because this one turned out so feminine, there's not a lot of sharp lines in it. And then I've got a heron nearby too. So you can see there's light codes running around the heron here.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And so when you do this, it's simply you connect in with the energy and ask the energy to inform you. So it just comes through naturally.
Yes, I'm a little bit different than other people who script and draw in light language. I used to be a moderator for a Facebook group for light language. It's called Keepers of the Codes, if anybody's interested, really good group. That's how I found out about so many different forms of light language. There's different dialects, there's different ways of writing, I'll call it script. Different sounds. Sometimes people do beeps and clicks, it's not always what we think of as a word. So there's a big variety out there. And then I forgot the question. Where were we going with that?
So when you
channeling, how I do it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
when it comes in, you
Yes.
simply connect in with the energy and ask it to inform you on what to put on paper.
Yes, although a lot of people, because you've got people in the audience who are probably familiar with light language or starting to develop theirs, a lot of people do it differently. They actually see something, they have a vision, and then they actively try to remember it and put it on paper. I'm a little different. I just let it flow. I don't see the image, I just write it. So I kind of call myself, it's more like a graffiti artist, real quick.
Okay, all right. Well, that's cool. That's really cool. So so we're gonna again take another break here in a little bit, but I think it's fascinating. Now, were you doing any artwork prior to this? Like, did you have any drawing experience? Did you think that you were did you practice art before this started happening?
I loved art when I was a kid, but then I had a boyfriend for 7 years who had a fine arts degree from the University of Washington. And when you see that caliber artwork, I got very discouraged. This is before I did light language. This is when I was lower vibe, okay? And it was just like, well, I don't want to draw anymore because I can't draw like Greg draws, it was amazing. So I let it go. And then a couple years ago, I was sitting here drinking coffee in the morning, and I clearly heard in my head, draw a wolf. And I kind of looked around because I heard it so clear. And I said, all right, if I'm going to draw again, because I'm my own worst critic, right? Because I've seen really good artwork. I'm not going to use a pencil, and I'm not going to use an eraser. I made a deal, because then I would be erasing all the time. So I said, okay, I'll draw a wolf. And I have the wolf in a necklace here. This is the wolf, if you guys can see.
Wow.
And I looked at it and I went, okay, it's that I drew it. I guess I'm better than I thought. So that started it all. When I was told, draw a wolf, and I did the wolf with all the light language in it.
That's beautiful.
So I have kind of my own style, and it's not architectural. So right now I'm not worried that things are not in perfect proportion. As a matter of fact, the wolf, has one ear larger than the other, but I don't care. Because remember, I said, if I'm going to do it, I'm not using a pencil.
Yeah, I got it. So we're going to take another break here. And when we come back, I would love to talk to you a little bit more about what dimensions are coming in, because somebody has told you before, and we definitely got it when we were talking about the multidimensionality of your work. So we're going to take another break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more to Lola Singer and her amazing light language that she is sharing with the world. Welcome back to the Empower Me Show with Pam Bright. I'm here with Lola Singer, who is going to talk to us about multidimensionality with her work. She is an amazing artist, and she uses light codes to actually impress that energy right into her artwork. And how long have you been doing this kind of channeling, Lola, with your artwork?
The artwork, well, I used to just do codes only before I was told to start drawing animals. And so I've been doing that for maybe 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
So, uh-huh. And then where it's just the symbols, and then I would colorize the symbols. And then the animals started, I think, about 2 years ago. I was sitting here so it hasn't been that long.
Okay.
I got the inspiration to start doing the totem animals. Yeah.
Wonderful. So tell me about, or tell the audience about what your connection with the multiverse is. Really, what does that mean to you, and how do you infuse the energies of all the different dimensions into your work?
Oh boy, it's just what I do. I mean, I just quiet myself and I let it all in and set the intention and just open up and let it flow. So I wouldn't say there's a specific ritual or anything like that other than being open. Um, but kind of going back to the Kundalini experience, people seem to find certain ways to manage it. Everybody's a little different. We kind of go to what's more natural for us, right? So some people dance it out, I
Mhm.
sing it out, other people do yoga, right? I
Yeah.
think that's the same thing with light language. It's just something. Oh, I'm getting chills down my spine, so I'm on target. That I guess chills when the guides are happy. It's something that in my background is in my soul. I know it already. I know it. So I just be present here on earth, open myself up to it and allow it. I
Yeah.
don't know how many people, there's been a few, have told me, I've seen you on, like, I've seen you in dreams or the astral plane. You're a galactic opera singer. I go, I
Yeah.
probably am.
Yeah, I get that totally. The first time I heard you sing, I was like, holy cow, this is an opera singer I'm hearing. This is great.
So I could be tapping into, yeah, of course, it's here on earth where we have time, you know, you get outside this galaxy, you get into other dimensions, there's no time. So I'm tapping into something I'm comfortable and familiar with.
Absolutely.
Whereas,
Absolutely.
have you seen the beautiful dancing people do in light language?
I
The beautiful,
have. I have. It's really amazing now how many people are really
they
connecting
look
in
like they're
with.
Egyptian or they're from Bali. And so
Yeah.
they've got experiences where they were dancers somehow. So
Mhm.
I just think people are tapping into, as far as light language goes, that's why there's so many different kinds. What's most natural for them is just my personal belief.
Well, and I get that too. And what I believe is happening now is that because are getting into the higher dimensions, they call it going into the fifth dimension now, and it becoming a quantum world, a quantum universe, that we are being able to access all dimensions all the time. And so you may be accessing in any given moment, um, what's considered past lives or parallel lives or even future
Mhm,
lives. And so
exactly.
that's what's great about this type of energy that we explore every first Monday of the month with light language, is that it's an avenue for connecting into who you are as spirit. So one of the things that I do is that I connect in with people's souls and do some soul work with them, some soul contract work. And when we do that, we pull in all of the gifts that are available to folks that are ready to access that. And so you may be connecting in with, the time that you were an Egyptian dancer, say, or connecting in with when you worked the Great Pyramids, or you were a tailor, in New England. Who knows? It's great. That's why we do these kinds of shows, especially the Empower Me show, so that we can really access all of who we are and honor that in every moment. So one of the things that we talked about is that one of the people that met you at one of the psychic fairs noticed that there were different layers of these
Yeah.
paintings that they were experiencing. Why don't you tell us about that?
So I sell my artwork. I wrapped canvases at a store in my local area called Mystical Wares. It's in Mount Vernon, Washington. And someone was there when I was there, and he was looking at a wrap. I'm sorry, no, he was actually looking at a magnet I made. I have little magnets and of the bear. So here's a print of the bear he was looking at. And he was just holding a magnet. It's not very big, the magnet. And he goes, "You put a layer in there, didn't you? You drew something else. Oh, you drew the bear over something." I went, "No, I just drew the bear, and then I tapped in the energy and put in the light language." And he looked and he goes, I see the other layer." And then the store owner's very intuitive. The gentleman was looking around the store, and I still had the magnet in my hand. And I go, "Hey, Derek, store owner, intuitive guy, come over here. Someone just told me he saw more than one layer in here. What do you see?" Derek looks, he goes, "You got 4 layers of energy here." 4.
Nice.
It was like, I didn't know. So it is interesting. People are perceiving it. You know, that it appears to be something so simple to look at with the eye, right? It's cute. The bear's fun, right? But there's so much more going on with that than even I knew, because I'm the channel. I'm just creating it out of intuition.
Of course, absolutely. And that's what's awesome about this type of energy work is that as we open, I talk a lot about this, as we open to who we are as a spiritual being, having this human ego experience on earth, we are opening to the multidimensionality of ourselves, which means that we are accessing from all dimensions. And I talk a lot about working with your spirit guides and working with your spirit teams. And with that, you are much more, I am much more than just this human vessel. I'm a human vessel with muscles and bones and a heart and a brain and skin and, you know, cells and all of that, but I'm also a spirit or a soul embody. And so with that, I connect in and I ask that spirit to connect with anything that is of the light and the love. Language is a way to communicate light. So when we say we are channeling light language, it's not one way. It may sound like it's Egyptian. It may sound like it's Hawaiian. It may sound like it's Tibetan. It may sound Native American Indian. It may sound African. It's all connecting into the essence of the energy. And so you may not be a person that sings in light language or praise in light language, but you may be finding yourself doing what seems like doodles, right? Remember doing doodle art when we were kids? Some people still do. And we just, you know, find ourselves doing these spirals and triangles and squares and, you know, other kinds of stuff. And we're like, what is that? Well, we're tapping into the energy of the artist within. So really allow yourselves to explore the way that the energy wants to work with you. And you may find that you are naturally connecting into what we are calling the language of light or light language. It's also been known as the mother tongue, as angelic song, as galactic ET energies coming in, or star language is another way that is talked about. But it's all available to whoever is open to receiving it. So just because you're hearing it from us does not mean that you can't access it too. It's about allowing yourself the gift of opening to whatever your gift really is.
And may I add something to that?
Absolutely.
It's frequency. So try not to using the term light language. I think a lot of people think it has to be translated.
Mm,
No, there's no literal translation. It's frequency. It's how it makes you feel. It's like when an analogy I use is when you're looking at a painting at a gallery, two people are looking at the same piece of modern art, and one is getting a certain feel from it, and the other's getting a slightly different feel from it. So either it's harmonic to you or it's not. So that's another thing, frequency. If you hear light language and you love it, then it's matching your frequency, your harmony. It's raising your vibes. If you hear one you don't like, that's okay too. It's just not the right, you're not a match for the frequency. Someone else is a match for that frequency.
got it. That's really good explanation. Thank you. So we
Mhm.
are going to take our last break. And when we come back, we're going to find out how you can contact Miss Lola Singer and get some of her wonderful artwork that she does on commission. And she also sells them at fairs and in galleries. And, this is available. You also, I believe, do some one-on-one service with other
Yeah,
things
yeah.
as well. And we'll talk about that too. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Light Language episode of the Empower Me Show with Pam Bright. Lola Singer is here with me. She's my special guest today. And Lola, our listeners would love to hear how they can get a hold of you and get some of this beautiful artwork that you do. And I understand that you do what's called commission work, as well as you already have some things that you've already done. So how can they get a hold of you, and what do you have to offer them as far as
Okay.
services go?
I am building a new website. So I have a website now, but it isn't highly functional as far as scheduling, but it does have some information about some of the services I offer, including the commission items. And I do spirit guide drawings for people. These are some of the spirit guides that have come in through. I set the intention for a guide to come through who's most helpful for the person at this moment in time. So it's not your
Beautiful.
guide with, sorry?
Oh, I said that's beautiful.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe there was a direction from the studio. Okay, so the idea is I tap into the energy, I set the intention. This is the guide to help you get over a hurdle at the moment. And it's so fun. Then I do a session with people. We talk about the guide. I do energy healing. I do tarot readings, whatever seems appropriate at the time, light language as well. And we find out why that guide came through. And it's just fascinating how they fit so well. So I have a website now. It's called www.lightlanguagearts. You can send me an email as well. You can contact me on that one. And my email is lola@lightlanguagearts.com. And I'm building a new website that'll be lolasinger.com. I'm gonna get all the bells and whistles on that one. So
Yay.
I apologize to people. You do have to make an effort to contact me via email to set up a session or a drawing, but for people love what I do, and it's just amazing to see how these guides fit. I do that with animals too. You can do a commission animal, or you can request a specific animal as well.
That's beautiful. Well, and yes, you did a beautiful butterfly for me, and I still have that when we did the psychic fair. So that was wonderful. So yeah, so I understand you also do tarot. Is that correct?
Yes, I love tarot. It helps you to tap into direct messages from your soul. It's a wonderful tool. I teach tarot as well online and in person in Mount Vernon. I do, there's a fair in Arlington, Washington. There'll be one this weekend. It's the first and third Saturday every month. It's called the Alchemy Fair. Fun fair. I get to do tarot readings there. I'm allowed to bring my art as well. Great craftsmen there, stones, psychics, Wonderful. I love it. It's a great environment. So if anybody's local to the Skagit or Snohomish County area, it's fun at the Alchemy Fair in Arlington.
And have you already done your drumming circle?
Oh, there's a drumming circle at Mystical Wares, which is the store in Mount Vernon, Sunday, August 22nd, where I sing in light language, and I have a friend who leads the drumming, and it is so fun. It's in the morning. We don't want to interrupt the store too much, so it's the early hours when the store's open. Starts at 10, goes to about 1 till 11:30 or noon. They have been powerful and fun, and I love the kids love the light language drumming circles because they get to be part of it. You
That's
know,
wonderful. Yeah.
I've gotten nothing but good feedback from families about the light language, so they're really open to it.
That's great.
It's free. It's free. Anybody can come.
I
So
love that. So are you still doing work with Jeffrey with his drum too, that whatever that's called, the pan drum?
because we have to be in the same place at the same time, it's been a little bit difficult to coordinate because my friend Jeffrey, is also known as Wizard Ozanon, is just a wonderful intuitive musician, and I just freestyle my light language to his music, and it comes out like magic. It's beautiful. He uses the hand pan. It's just got such a lovely tone. When he moved closer to me, I thought, but actually he's still about an hour away.
Okay.
So we don't always get our schedules quite in sync. So yeah, I think he wants to do more and we sound good together. It's just not something I can do here in one place and he do in another place on Zoom. It has to be in the same room.
I got it. I got it. So that's something that maybe in the future we can look forward to.
Yes. And when we work together, we call ourselves alchemical sound magic.
I love that. I love that. So I think we just have a couple minutes left before we end. Lola, I'm so happy that you joined me today.
Thank
and
you.
that we got to hear about your amazing work on the planet. And what would you say if you were to put together a mission statement for yourself? What would you say your mission or purpose is with this work that you're doing now?
You know, I don't want to be anybody's guru, but I want to be like a facilitator because I don't want to tell people what to do. I want to help them to empower themselves and to really start to see how their connections. So I guess that would be it. I'm a helper.
Wonderful. Well, you empower folks to find their own gifts. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. That's one of the things that I do as well, and why this show was created was to empower others to really own their own gifts in the world and let themselves shine. You know, it's one of the things that I've really enjoyed about connecting with Lola is that she lets herself shine. She lets herself be who she is and really empower other people to do the same. When I was doing psychic fairs with Lola, I remember that often I would just watch her doing her thing and we never knew, right, in the moment what was going to show up, which is really great. So with that, I understand you also do Reiki and healing work.
Yeah, I would say it's more, I'm Reiki trained, but what's great about Reiki is when you get to the third level, Reiki 3, you get to find out you can take everything you learned and apply it to and twist it to be your own.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't say I do traditional Reiki. I use light language. I move my hands with the mudras. And yes, I send Reiki energy and good vibes as well. I pull energy out of people. But it's really, once again, not structured. I'm trained. I've got the training. I could do Reiki exactly by the book, but when I found out when you do Reiki 3 that now take it and make it your own, it was like, yeah.
Absolutely. So in the last little bit, can you actually just close us out with the light language blessing for folks to go on their way?
Yes.
That'd be wonderful. Thank you.
Here we go. Mala serana seke yo masalane ya. Hey ona mahaya neseya neseya. Io no mahama leo no masamayo. Io no mahamaka malaya nasaramayo. Iano sarana halanese yona mahalaya amaheya neana mahala heya nara neana hala heya no sahara no hamala neana amaheya nayana mahaya he mahala seyana mara e mahala nasarana mahalo mahaya. Hey Maya, Maya, hey
Hmm. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Blessings to you, Lola. Blessings to the viewers and the listeners to our Empower Me show. Thank you so much for being here. And next week, we are doing the choosing your empowered life next week. See, it all kind of comes together when we do week to week, but next week is choosing your empowered life, and we are in the 4 elements series. So next week I will be sharing the element of fire with you, and next month we will have another light language show, and not sure yet if we're going to have a special guest, but that will come because I connect to spirit and spirit tells me what we're going to do from episode to episode. So we are going to go now, but Lola, blessings to you and good luck with everything you're doing. And I will definitely send people your way if they live up in Arlington. Is that actually where you live? Is Arlington?
I live in Mount Vernon.
Mount Vernon. Okay. All right.
The fair that's twice a month is in Arlington.
Okay. All right. Well, I will send people your way who are interested in the work that you do and all of that. Okay. So blessings.
I do work on Zoom. It's just like you do too.
Okay. So thank you all. Have a wonderful day, and we will talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Empower Me Show with Pam Bright on Transformation Talk Radio. Tune in every Monday at 3 p.m. to learn more about living a fully empowered life. Remember that your life is up to you, and you can choose the spiritual path you are on. There is spiritual energy and wisdom in everything and everyone around you. Listen carefully for what the universe is trying to tell you in every moment. You are already being guided along your journey. Call upon your spirit guides anytime you need help with anything. Know that you are safe in every moment, even if it seems that you are not. For more information about Pam Bright, visit brightbutterflyenterprises.com or email theempowermeshow@gmail.com. Thank you very much for listening. We hope to see you next week.